Hi everyone, I'm here today with Gary Wills. I'm really excited about having a chat with Gary because he did some profound things through a very challenging period through the pandemic with Furlearn. And today we're going to set the world to rights again.
Let's try.
Yeah, that's it. We'll try. We'll try. I think the first thing we want to address is why we do what we do. Gary's done some exceptional things more recently with the pandemic. I'm an entrepreneur myself. And I want to share with us the mindset of why we do the things we do. Um, Gary's also on a very exciting new venture with Talent Today. And I'm also 2 years into my seventh startup. So we'd like to talk about why we're trying to bring about change in the recruitment sector. And finally, if there's still time left, we'll talk future of work.
Hi, I'm Gary Wills. I've worked in the recruitment sector for 20 years. Last year, I found myself furloughed after 10 years of working for an amazing company. And it was just, it's one of them things you just got to get your head around. It's a business decision. A lot of people at start with, like myself, I took it very personally. Why me? As recruiters, let's be honest, we're very needy and we take things to heart. Let's be honest, we are. Sometimes the ego gets the better of you, and I think once you can get over that and realize actually it is a business decision, it's what can you actually do for the positive. So when I was furloughed, I've been somebody who's always been driven. I've always wanted to hit the targets or do things slightly differently. So I initially did a charity fund run where I ran on my treadmill, ran from Nightingale London to Nightingale Birmingham in support of the NHS. Went really, really well. Got hacked on the last day though on Zoom. It was hilarious. Well, I say it's hilarious. Got my auntie, my uncle, everybody on there, friends, family, clients, the lot. And it was the first time I'd ever used Zoom, and we got hacked, and there was the most graphic images displayed on the screen, and all I can remember hearing was my auntie going, "Oh my god, oh my god, shut it down, shut it down." But yeah, anyway, cut a long story short, the charity run went really well. It gave me that sort of boost, that confidence, that focus, that drive that I needed. But unfortunately, on that final day, my charity, my furlough got extended even further. So I realised that I was going to be out of work for quite a period of time now. Now I've got two kids at home. I've got a wife who was working full time. So in some ways, I felt like I was being selfish, with these new ambitions and dreams that I had. But I decided to set up a support initiative for the furloughed and job searching talent out there because I saw a gap that in the current workplace. I didn't think that I kind of know that you don't really get the soft skills, the real sort of life soft skills. And especially when you're job searching, I was looking around waiting for all the big corporate recruitment companies to sort of put the hand up and be that sort of safe haven. And it just wasn't there. They're thinking about that, they're thinking about, oh my God, I've got to furlough 150 of my staff. How are we going to survive? We could go bump. How long is this crisis going to go on for? So myself and Jay Johansson, who set it up with me, we recognized that there was a massive problem. And there was going to be thousands, millions of people who were going to go through a depressive state during this pandemic. And how can we lift them up? So we set up Furlearn to support, motivate, and inspire them by speaking to the best speakers in the market. Like the very best of the best. We've hosted 35 sessions. We've had MBEs on. We've had sleep gurus. We've had master chefs. We've done cook-alongs.
Brilliant.
Anything and everything to lift the morale of people. We've partnered with Google Digital Garage. We've been supported by LinkedIn. We've won 2 awards at the Learning Awards. And this is me just blown away by how this has happened. And it's given me the confidence now to set up my own recruitment business as well, Talent Today. So that's kind of a bit of an intro into me.
Gary, that's brilliant. And you know what? Can I just suggest that it wasn't just the gap that you saw, but it was that you cared.
Yeah.
It was that you cared. I saw what you were doing, and I just found it exceptionally admirable. I had to take two different sectors. So I've got businesses in the healthcare sector, in recruitment, and also in the technology sector. And I know the challenges I had to go through, and that's not an excuse, but to be able to see you doing that, just helping so many people who'd gone through furlough, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
It was just, am I right in saying it wasn't just a gap? Is that you genuinely cared?
Well, going back a little bit to this, I actually in February of last year, call it burnout, call it signs of a breakdown. That was me in 2020. I had a complete crash, 4 weeks out of work.
Wow.
So I realized, I kind of realized that if you can be kind, when you do something kind, it makes you feel good inside. So it kind of started with that, and then it was like, actually, what things did I do to help repair myself? And my wife did something amazing for me. She said, go and convert the garage into a gym. And that was the beginning of it, because it got the treadmill. We bought that on literally the day of lockdown, when Mike Ashley put all his prices up to £1,000 a treadmill, and I managed to just find one for 450 quid. And that was the beginning. That moment.
Brilliant.
Ripping out all the junk out of the garage and dragging myself out of bed. She was literally dragging me out of bed to go and do this. And I might be a bit of a talker now, but about 12 months ago now, I was not in a great place at all. We've all probably experienced it within recruitment, when you're setting up businesses or whatever. We just hit that wall, and something happened. I just wasn't happy in life. But doing the Furlearn initiative has made me happy again, and we have seen it's proven. We've increased people's morale from an average of 5.5 up to 7.8 out of 10. So we just want to continue it and just be that support level for people through these tough times. Like, I know the fintech sector from past couple of years. How have you found your battle with like internal in-house recruiters and stuff like that? How's your team been getting past that? Because I know when these scale-ups come in, they love an internal recruiter.
Oh, I didn't even ask you to ask me that question. That's one of my favorite questions.
Oh, really?
You know what it is? I've looked at this in detail, because if you ask all the fintechs out there in a survey, and this has been done with the Future 50 and a lot of accelerators that fintechs sit on, and they've been asked, what's your number one challenge? And they say talent. Well, your number one barrier for growth is talent. Then you ask them, how highly do you rate, when would you basically go work with a recruiter? And it's 9th on their list.
Yeah.
So talent is their biggest problem, and recruitment is one of the last places they'll go. The point I'm trying to make is that I think that fintechs go about trying to build their own talent teams because the service that they're looking for isn't available. The reputation of the recruitment sector is too transactional, too aggressive, and we haven't been able to position ourselves correctly, so they don't have to. You wouldn't do your own tax returns if you trusted the accountant to do it for you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't fight your own court case if you trusted the lawyers to do it for you. You wouldn't go start pulling your own teeth out if you trusted the dentist to do it for you. Right? Recruitment isn't professionalized enough in the technology sector to be able to convince the co-founders, founders, and the boards of fintechs that you don't have to do it yourself. We can do it for you.
Do you think it's money related though?
It's not though. It's not, because if you do the math, it doesn't add up. If you do the math, if you got models, there are models out there. Look at embedded solutions. So you take an embedded solution and you charge a fixed fee. One of the solutions that I provide, you charge a fixed fee for extending your blueprint. My group's got 30 years experience in recruitment. We span a reach of 1.8 million candidates, right? We white labeled an experienced recruiter to that one client to help them scale up. And whilst doing that, plug them into our job boards, our know-how, our tools, our tech.
Yeah.
The cost-benefit analysis doesn't add up. I don't think it's a cost thing. I think it's a service problem. I think the reputation of recruiters is too short for companies to feel confident that they can work with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. It's and it's a trust thing as well. I think over the years we've recruiters. I know, we've been called all kinds of names. There is I would love to see for the, one day down the line that the recruitment sector becomes regulated, almost.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So picture this, right? You go to America, you start doing recruitment in America. It's a professional service.
Correct.
It's like an accountant. So I really believe in, I'd love to champion it in some way in the future, that people have to go through, the new kids on the block that are coming through this, regimented processes that the recruitment regulators have put in place, that not anybody and everybody can just set up. So
100%.
you probably couldn't do what you did before.
Correct. And I'm not, and that's the thing, that's the point I try to make. I'm not being elitist. I said the very same thing you said. I said that recruitment should be regulated. You should have to have a qualification to be a recruiter. Now, well, first of all, sometimes some people can go, well, you sound like a hypocrite, because I left school at 16. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't go to college. I didn't go to university. So first, am I being a hypocrite? I'll come on to that. Number two, those people who don't know me think I'm being elitist. They automatically assume that I've got some MBA or something like that, and therefore I'm looking down on anybody else. I'm not. I'm just saying every sector has to evolve.
Yeah.
And when I entered 15 years ago, the size of the market 20 years ago when you joined the game, right? It was a whole different ballgame. In 1985, the recruitment sector in the UK was worth 2 billion. Today, it's worth 40 billion. And the problem is, you go to a mortgage broker, and they have to be qualified. They have to have a CMAP, or I think whatever the corporate qualification is called.
Yeah.
You go to somebody who does your tax returns. They have to have an ACCA. They have to be an accountant, right? So, but when it comes to dealing with your career, so are your tax returns more important than your career? But you can deal with someone unregulated who does not have a recourse. So what then happens is the degree of quality varies greatly.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. The problem is, and then what gets amplified are the real horror stories. The horror stories about the recruiter who lied to you about a job advert, who pulled you out of a permanent job to put you into a contract that you thought was 2 years long, but actually when he showed up, it was a month long, or some disaster stories like that. And you lost your house, but that can happen because there's no recourse. Who do you report them to? If you're talking about the employment conduct regulations, they just haven't got the manpower to regulate 45,000 recruitment companies. That's how many there are in the UK now.
I know.
So I absolutely agree with you. The best way to do this is for us to regulate ourselves. This should be something that's on the agenda of all the big boards, all the big PLCs, because actually our biggest threat isn't each other. Our biggest threat is our customers lose so much faith in the value of our service that they go, I'm going to build my own talent team, and everybody does it.
Yeah. So on that point, the competition side of it, like me and you talking now, this wouldn't have happened 3 years ago, right? Probably not.
No,
right?
No.
Probably not even two years ago, right? But the way I see it is, let's say I pick up a position tomorrow. I'm speaking to a client, and that this is how I perceive the future going, which is, okay, it's a fintech client, for instance. Now, fintech, you've got to know it inside and out, right? Now, I haven't done that for about 12 months, 18 months. So I'd probably go, Affi's you, man.
That's it.
Or let's do a deal. I can sort that out. But Affi, let's work together on this. And do a split. You go away and find candidates, and I'll manage it because the client is mine.
Correct. 100%.
That's how I see recruitment evolving. Is that there's going to be more partnerships with more agencies and more collaboration where you go, oh, Gary, you specialize in the project delivery world. Okay, perfect. I know this company that is looking for project managers at the moment. And the partnerships built there. You work with the best and the best in their field, in their niches, rather than just saying, yeah, I can fill that role, which is, I don't know, a node developer. And I go, you know what? I don't really. Not really.
How do I get them? And where's your ecosystem?
Exactly.
Where's the ecosystem
in it?
Yeah, no, 100%. To exist in a niche or a micro niche, you have to have an ecosystem, because most of these guys are going to be passive.
Yeah, I tried in the fintech sector, and I'd actually say in some ways I failed. I tried to do it from working down in Coventry, commuting down to London. I tried to build it, over about an 18-month period. And yeah, there was, there's failure and the successes, and along the way. But when I look at it, did I crack it? No, but I learned so much from it. Oh my
Mm.
God, did I learn so much from it? The thing is now is you don't have to be so much in London with everything that's just changed. If I tried to break it now, if I decided to go after that, you've probably got a better chance of doing it because everybody's just available on Zoom meetings and sessions. It's just getting to know your community,
That's it. That's
But
it.
but yeah, my world is slightly different now. I'm going for projects based. I want to try and become the go-to project guy.
And it's similar. It's similar to me. With my latest startup. It's we are. I believe that transactional recruitment has it's a race to the bottom. It's become overly saturated, and I don't. If you want to continue to just be a basic transactional recruiter, then you are facing a race to the bottom. There is a way to succeed in that market, but you've got to get your cost model right and you've got to accept who you are, which is no frills. Your margins are going to decline. And our ethos in specialist talent is simple that we try to provide transformational talent solutions. So we move up the value chain and do a bit more from a functional process. So what functions of your recruitment process can we align to? Can we help with to A, give you a bigger reach than you had yourself,
Yeah.
and B, to add more value in the service we're already providing you. And for me, I guess I'm doing it from the inside out. So I am in a big corporation, but I've been able to build my own startup, which has given me the agility to move. And I guess that for me works. I want to ask you, why do you think that some of these bigger companies, if what we're saying is right and what we're saying is the way forward, why haven't the real big boys cracked it yet and are still being very transactional?
Is it greed?
Maybe. What do you mean?
I think there was a massive opportunity in the pandemic for somebody, one of the big players to stand out and actually be seen as like, wow, them guys really helped the people who needed help. Let's be honest, it was the job searcher. Like people on furlough like me, it was tough. Okay, it was just more like the sense of purpose. So people on furlough, but they do get money. Okay, so there's something coming in.
Yeah.
The job searcher is getting nothing, especially the limited company contractor, because there was no funding available. So there's financial worries, there's panic, all sorts of chaos going on.
Yeah.
Literally the Furlearn community, I've got to say, there was all different emotions, but it was very, very low. Now, maybe there's an opportunity there for a big corporate to actually stand up, or all of them, or the regulators, whoever it is, your big regulators. I think some of them should actually look back and think, did we do enough? Did we?
Mm.
Because I don't think they did. When you put your hand on heart, all of the people we speak to, there's only been a handful of small to medium sized companies that have really put their hand up and actually helped.
Yeah.
And then the power of community that is built from that. I didn't know I was going to set a recruitment business up.
I know, but I just think it was clear the success of Furlearn and what the value that you added at the time. I saw your. I mean, we've met a couple of times, but when I saw you on the front page of the Recruiter magazine, I was like, that's it. This guy has really made a difference, and it's all the positive karma that comes from that. Just goes to show that if someone else was doing that, if one of the bigger guys would have done that, then it wouldn't have been as valuable as it was because someone like you went down and did it, and you were on furlough yourself. It's such a powerful story, I think.
Yeah, but my point being is that maybe it could have been even more powerful if one of the big CEOs out there went out and did it themselves. and said, let's forget about, let's not worry about all of the profits at the moment. Okay, let's tick over, but let's try and help as many, and they could have reached tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of candidates. You imagine now, right? Had they done something like that, what a monster they would build for when this market goes up.
Back of that, well, all the good for you, because I guess Talent Today is set itself up for some good success off the back of the great network that you've developed.
Yeah, it's a bit of a juggling act, you've got the two, and it's like how to find an equal balance to be able to, one, make sure that you can continue to help the community, and two, obviously be able to run a recruitment business, but then three, potentially, how can you incorporate what we've learned from Furlearn into the corporate world, which is lacking the soft skills to help employees who are in a workplace at the minute. And don't get me wrong, we're talking about the job searcher and the furloughed having it tough. I can only imagine how difficult it's been when you've been working, because I've seen my wife like pulling her hair out. It's been extremely difficult during the core pandemic bit. And don't get me wrong, we're not out of it yet. But what could we create for the future of, could there be a service available like a Furlearn for the companies, the corporates?
Well, that's the way all leadership is going. I think one thing that's been clear is that sort of command and control and this really aggressive style of leadership is over, isn't it? You've got to be a coach, and you've got to support people.
Yeah, I think support, and I think like one of the key words is empathy and understanding, and that's something I learned so much from my predecessor, my ex MD Rob. Great guy, absolutely great guy, true empathy, and before that I've been very blessed as Andy Carter. I've had some real good grounding of people that have been all about people and how do you look after them, treat people how you expect to be treated, and it's not all about a financial exchange. It's
no
so
it's simple, isn't it? And unfortunately, the way that corporate structures are still set up, there's still room for a lot of the corporate psychopaths, and the people who who say one thing to one person, play off one another. People aren't really people for them. People are things that they move around on a chessboard. They're pawns and things like that. And I think that's another sadness about it all is my worry is that as people get more and more isolated, working from home and flexibility and things like that, then I think good leadership can shine, but also bad leadership can also prevail because people are more isolated than ever before.
Absolutely. People really are. And do you know what? The way I see it is when I make that hire or hires in the future when it comes, I see it being slightly different, right? So, I see the person being different anyway. I see it being more of a video focused recruiter, researcher, right? Okay, so that's one element. But I also see how people get rewarded being different as well. So not always financially based, but what about, like, let's say you hit your target, great, but if you want to maybe get that holiday, I don't know, let's think of it like what is it that you really want, this recruiter, what is it you really want? Is it a new car, or is it a holiday, or is it you wanted to travel, whatever it is, okay? But what if you were to actually hit all them targets of the care, the empathy? Have you checked in on your candidates? Do you know them? Are they okay? Have you sent out the birthday card? Have you sent out the Christmas card? Have you been on a Zoom session with them once a week? Have you checked your clients all right?
Celebrity service, yeah.
Almost, celebrity service. What we're talking about the other day, but everyone's a client. The recruiter's a client, the candidate's a client, and what we class as the client is the client, right? We're all equal, but you get rewarded slightly differently. That it's not all about the financial. You've hit that 10K target, well done, brilliant. Okay, it's bringing the business money, but how do we grow the business in a good way? And I believe kindness is one of them. Is that if we act with strong empathy and strong kindness, you will stand out tenfold from anybody else.
And also, I think I think as you do that, also collaboration. You touched on it earlier, but if you can change that mindset from that aggressive dog eat dog zero sum game environment,
Yeah.
where every single conversation, like you and I are talking right now, and if I sit here and I'm go back 20 years, I might ask, someone else might be sitting here going, why am I doing this? Well, we're doing this because we believe in something. I've
Yeah.
got nothing to gain from specifically. I'm not gonna get paid for this. You're not gonna get paid for this. We believe in something that we share in common. We have a shared common ethos. But beyond that, we have a chance to inspire. Whoever's watching this, whoever's reading this, whoever's listening to this, it might feel encouraged to go and make that change. Now, we might not get anything in return for that, but we're helping our ecosystem.
Hey, Affi, I used to always say, right, do good, get good. And I
That's it.
absolutely, and no, I hate that saying now because it's not about getting the good. It doesn't, it's now do good, feel good. You just
Feel
do
good,
something
yeah.
that makes you feel good and it makes you more productive.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's it.
if you've done something good for someone, like, you're going to come off that phone call or whatever, that video, feeling good about yourself. So,
100%, and that propels you to the next thing.
yeah,
Look, you
absolutely.
talked about the future of work just a second ago. Shall we just go in a bit more in that? Because I think that your experience with the amount of people that you must have talked to while running Furlearn and the people that were on furlough, you must know firsthand what people don't like about the old way of working. And there's a lot of across social media at the moment. There's a very popular saying that people aren't afraid of returning to work. They're afraid of returning to their old life.
Yeah.
So you go first. Tell me, is there a truth in that, and what is it? What are people afraid of?
Yeah, I think if you just there is massive anxiety around it. Like, I think everyone's relieved that we're coming back into this new world of, that there's hope, there's light at the end of the tunnel. But then there's that, oh God, my boss wants me to come in 5 days a week. It just is, the companies that have that mindset, they will fail. They will lose their best talent. We've proven already that we don't need, to be based in the office 5 days a week. I think it's good to have 2-3 days a week in the office to have that collaboration, but you don't need it all the time. You don't need to be. I personally see that the recruiter specifically, you could have a really good recruiter that works well between 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night. Let them do it.
Well, yeah,
I
why
think
not? Why not?
just 100% let them do it. The ones that I was like, you didn't get in at 9 o'clock this morning, them days are gone for me, absolutely gone. If you can do the same amount of work or better, in different hours, go for it. Do
Yeah,
something, do something completely different. But I think the companies that don't adopt and change and be flexible, real flexibility, like working hours, like working days, I think there will be a lot of turnaround where employees will go, I've had enough, I'm going somewhere else.
yeah, yeah. And Gary, I want to zone in a bit more on this because it's a really interesting topic. What specifically are people afraid of being in the office 5 days a week? What's in your mind? What is it that they don't want to go back to if they did go back to five? Is it just the flexibility of being at home, and is that really the attractive bit, or what is it? I think it's more.
It's not just the home, is it? I think
No,
it's time. It's
yeah,
time. Like all that commute that you were having to do down to London or in rush hour traffic, that time now can be spent actually quality. It can be even with your family, or you could go, do you know what? I'm going to start work at 9 o'clock this morning, but I've managed to do an hour run this morning. So mentally, I'm going to feel better.
yeah.
So you're going to get, if you work it right, you're going to get so much better performing recruiters, individuals, whatever it is you're placing, because they're looked after.
Yeah.
It's not like just the fruit bowl on the side and stuff like that we're helping people. It's like, actually, guys, what are you actually doing around your exercise and your sleeping and your eating? The
The whole self.
education.
Yeah, the whole self. Yeah.
the whole well-being.
And what do you say to these people who consider that those individuals who feel that way are just being lazy, that they don't want to work hard, they're being work shy, that this is just the millennial narrative. I'm a millennial, by the way, so I never bought that. I never buy that narrative. But what this narrative that's repeating itself now, that these people who want flexibility are just work shy. What's can we look into that? Is there any truth in that?
I think you gotta look at it another way. Again, maybe they got it right. They're working smarter.
That's it. That's bingo. Yeah, absolutely. Um, this is the thing. It's like I personally, just the way in here, my opinion here is it's not just that the people are. It's not the commute, not the technical part of coming into the office. It's also the environment you walk into. Like you said, oops, it's 1 minute past 9. Why are you late? Right? Have you done your 25 BD calls? Right? Presenteeism, micromanagement, politics. There's a lot of things that people are afraid to return to, where people just have to basically show up to make it look like they're working.
Yeah.
Instead of being valuable. And that's the difference. For me, it's like value creation is everything, right?
Yeah. You can make 3 phone calls in a day, but they could be absolutely amazing because you prepped everything. You know everything about that company inside and out. And the presentation that you could put to them could be mind-blowing if you really thought about how you wanted to personalize that approach. So but that could take you 2 hours to build that approach.
Correct.
So of course there's an element of both. Sometimes I love to do a little bit of one after the other and the new business, the calls or the videos approaches, right? Just to make it a bit different and a bit more exciting. I see there being, I don't want them days to be completely gone, but the more targeted ways as well. You don't everybody's different. And if you had all of the same beasts in the company that are all go-getters, the company would break anyway. You need different elements in the team.
And that's what it is. This is what people are actively. I read in the Harvard Business Review that people are actively looking for. The whole thing about equality and diversity isn't tokenism. Isn't the answer. It's about having a diverse mindset.
Yeah.
Having a diverse skill set and having a diverse perspective. Because that's what we're talking about here is how to achieve several different things in several different ways, because you also understand your customers better. You also understand your ecosystem better.
Yeah.
And therefore you've got to be able to allow flexibility, because how can you have inclusivity without flexibility? It doesn't make sense, right?
100%. And I guess it must be a massive challenge for the bigger companies out there. Like how do we do this? It must be startups. It's an absolute dream. Where you can be as flexible as you want, and you can be as inclusive as you want, because you don't have to change a culture. Changing the culture is one of the hardest things I can imagine to do.
It's quite challenging, and I say, you know what? I'm a little bit envious of you. You've got a blank canvas. I'm trying to bring about that change from the inside out, I guess.
I'm sure you'll crack it, Affi.
But if I don't, in 5 years' time, I'll be doing the same thing you're doing.
Maybe we'll be doing it together.
Oh, we'll be doing it together. That's it. That's a nice way to wrap up this call, isn't it?
Exactly. I really enjoyed this, Affi.
Fantastic. No, same here. Same here. You were an absolute inspiration, Gary. What you did is commendable. Well done. And I hope Talent Today gets all the success it deserves.
Thank you very much. Likewise.